Okay, Barakta Nedarim, Daf Ayin Zayin Amid Aleph. And we're in the middle of the sugya of Hafaras Nedarim and Hataras Nedarim. Again, Hataras Nedarim is done through a Chacham. Hafaras Nedarim is done through the husband. Hafaras Nedarim is Mvatal the Neder Mikan Lahaba. And the Chachamim are Oiked Neder Lemafreya. Tnan Hasam. Mafirim Nedarim B'Shabbos. A husband is able to take off the neder of his wife on Shabbos. Mafir and Dar Shabbos, the husband is able to take it off on Shabbos. This is the last mission, the last parak, and the last parak of Shabbos. Finish all in the Nedarim, shehein litzarech Shabbos, and they can be matter v'nisholim. They can be matter and neder from a chacham of Nedarim, but there's a provision over here. Shehein litzarech Shabbos. It has to be the neder that the chacham takes off. Is what is litzarech Shabbos. In other words, if it's a neder that can wait till weekdays, it waits till weekdays. If it's a neder that is subject to Shabbos, not to eat, shteronic Shabbos, anything that is now. The question is, iboilahu, may fear in the Shabbos litzarech Shabbos.
Are you allowed to make a neder on Shabbos?
As I was saying, you're not allowed to make a neder, period, May Asha. Anyone who makes a neder is called a chayta. It's kilu bana bama, and you keep it so you can makrav on it. You're not supposed to make a neder. If you make a neder on Shabbos, is it chal? Yes, it is. If that answers your question, okay? But you're not supposed to make nedarim, right? You're called a chayta, as we'll see. Anyway, chalapachas. I see you don't even bother raising your hand anymore. You like beyond that, just like barge in. Right. Anyway, here's the question: Iboiluhu, may fear in the Nedarim b'Shabbos l'tzarich Shabbos, or idilma afilu shlo l'tzarich. In other words, then the Mishnah it only mentioned the tzarich Shabbos regarding the hatara of the chacham. It did not mention the tzarich Shabbos when it comes to hafara of the Baal. But do we say the tzarich Shabbos that is in the last clause? Does it go back on the first statement? Do we say the tzarich Shabbos that's in conjunction with the hatara also applies to the hafara? That's the question. So Tashma, let's be pushed to the Shaila. The Tani Rav Zuti, the Bei Rav Papi, Eimafir Nedarim, Elo Tzarich Shabbos. In other words, so the tzarich Shabbos is on everything, not only on hatara, it's even on hafara. So, in other words, the only neder you could take off on Shabbos is a neder that is what is the tzarich Shabbos. If it's not the tzarich Shabbos, then not.
It's only 44 hours. So
Again. So you would again if it's the Baal, then it's within the Yom Shamo. It's machloikis. How do we paskin, right? Or we paskin like the Tanakama, the Yom Shamo, or we paskin like Rabbi Yosef Yehuda and Lazar B'Shemin. 24 hours, but it's easy to say that it's within that parameter. It's within that parameter. So in other words, it's not a problem. Now, it only is a problem if it's a day. In other words, let's say it's on Shabbos, the neder is made. On Shabbos, the neder is made. Let's say you make the neder on Shabbos, and it has nothing to do with Shabbos. So l'chayra, the Gemara is going to discuss it. So says the Gemara. So Ravashi haloi tnan hachi nodra im chashecha meifilo achlei techshach. So says Rav Papi the following, that the din of tzarich Shabbos is going on both. Ravashi disagrees. Haloi tnan hachi. Our Mishnah did not say that. Now, what did our Mishnah say, guys? Listen to our Mishnah. Nedarim nodra im chashecha. If she made a neder im chashecha, when it was what? When it was what? Right before Shabbos. Then what's your window to go ahead and take off the neder? Your window is until it becomes dark. Good. The amit litzarich hashabbos in shloi litzarich hashabbos loi my area chashcha afilu b'tochayom and yachal hafir. Even if you made it on Shabbos itself, you won't be able to take off the neder. If it's a neder that's only what litzarich Shabbos, good. And with speaking about any possible neder, it says any neder that she made. So let's fear rice. The reason why the window I have, the Mishnah said, guys, the following. It said that Nedarim lahakol lahachmir. Lahakol meant a long period of time, and lahachmir made a short period of time. Short period of time means what? You right before Shkia on Shabbos, you make the neder. You have that period of time to take it off. Good. Now, what neder are you talking about? If you're telling me it's a neder, now it could be any neder, l'chayra. Could be any neder, right? Now, if you're telling me that the only neder he could take off is Tzarech Shabbos, why are you saying that what? You have to take it off before Shabbos, even if it extends to Shabbos, he won't be able to take it off. Because the only neder you could take off is the Tzarech Shabbos. So l'chayra, our Mishnah says it's mashma, he could take off any neder. The reason why this neder you can't take off because the window's closed. Says even the window doesn't close, even if it extends into Shabbos, you can't take it off. Right? So it must be that what? That it could be any neder. That's what the Gemara says. So Amar Rashi Holetan Hachi Nodri Im Chashecha Meifur Lo Achlei Techshach. You make a neder Im Chashecha Meifur Lo Achlei Techshach. The Amar L'Tzorech Shabbos in Dafka neder L'Tzorech Shabbos you could take off. Shloi L'Tzorech Shabbos Loi. What are you going to tell me? The neder that's going into Shabbos and Tzarech Shabbos, it doesn't make any sense. I stopped short. And even you're not able to make for one that's Shaloi L'Tzarech, even Shabbos. So in other words, we have two opinions. We have the opinion of Rabbi Zuti, who says that the din of Hafaras Nedarim is only on Nedarim that Negei Shabbos. And we have the opinion of Rav Ashi from our Mishnah, the diak from our Mishnah, that it must be going on all Nedarim and not just what? L'Tzarech Shabbos. Says the Gemara Tanoihi. In fact, it's Machlokes Tanoim. In fact, it's Machlokes Tanoim. Hafaras Nedarim Kol Hayoim. Hafaras Nedarim is the whole day. Right? That was the Tanakama. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shimon Amru, Me'es La'es 24 hours. Guys, Firois. Lemanda Oma Kol Hayoim. Like the Manda Oma Kol Hayoim, that you have only the day. I feel a shleir tzarech Shabbos meifa. Even in other words, your window is closing. You got a window, so any neder you could take off. But the man the yom meis leis tzarech Shabbos in shleir tzarech Shabbos loy. Guys, if it's meis leis, you don't have to take it off in Shabbos, right? You'll take it off after Shabbos, right? You take it off. You take it off in Chayil. So therefore, the only one I feel then only what shleir tzarech Shabbos would you be able to take it off because it's shleir tzarech Shabbos. Just wait till Shabbos is over. Right? Just wait till Shabbos is over. Okay, so this Indian is very interesting about what's the reason you shouldn't be able to take a neder on Shabbos? Like, what's the reason you shouldn't be able to take a neder on Shabbos? It seems to be a tircha. It seems to be like a tircha. That's a tircha to take it off. It seems to be that's the thing. So I looked up the halacha. It's in I think Shin Mem Beis, Shin Mem Aleph, Shin Mem Aleph. And I found a fascinating thing. I'm fascinated with Kol Nidre. All this Kol Nidre talk, the Moranos and so we're always mocked with Kol Nidre, right? To start before Shabbos. So take a look. I sent it out. He brings from the. I brought this from the Dirshu Mishnah Bura. Huh? So what does it say? This is the latter prakim. V'chein le'inyan tefilas kol nidrei shel b'yom kippur. Now what are you doing, guys? Is this hafara or hatara? Clearly, it's hatara, guys. It's hataras nedarim, yes. And hataras nedarim, what's the halacha? Only l'tzarech Shabbos, correct? Only l'tzarech Shabbos. Shekosav haramol lekamon. The hakpada is to say kol nidre while it's still day. Kasa of Mishnah Brura Sham she'atamhu mifnei she'doima hadav v'kitzas lataras nedarim. Kol nidre is comparable a little bit to ataras nedarim. Shein oisim b'Shabbos u'b'yontif. We don't do ataras nedarim and Shabbos u'b'yontif. Hafaras nedarim you would do in Shabbos u'b'yontif. Of course, you have that window. Masha'en came what? Hataras nedarim, you have the 24-hour period, so wait till it's chayil. But since Kol Nidre is similar to what hataras nedarim, when do you begin it? When do you amakut to begin? While it's still daytime. Vidas hagoyim Reb Nissen Karelitz is in the Chut Sheni Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. V'chein kosa b'sefer zeh hashulchan shalat hamzeh ein tzarich lahakpid loyme Kol Nidre koydem hashkia ela pamachas. Again. we say it 3 times, but you don't have to get in all 3 before Shkia. You only have to get in 1 before Shkia because you can't be Matan Nedarim on Shabbos. The ilu eshtei ha'pa'aman usefes, the 2 extra ones, you should be able to say after Shkia. Why? So why do we say 2 more times? It's the mechazik the matter, as it says in the Beis Yosef. So this din of Hataras Nedarim, the din of Hataras Nedarim, that we're makbid to say what while it's still daytime is based upon this Gemara that you don't go ahead and take off Nedarim by night. Only one would be the Tzarech Shabbos, and we're saying Kol Nidrei, even the ones that what are not Nagei what Shabbos, and therefore, and according to the Dirshu, the different nice Kelner he brings in like different opinions that the Hakpada should be only say it once, the first one not twice.
Is this an thing outside?
Right? You may say mechazik it. Yeah, mechizik. Give something a chizik. You do something 3. No, it's no. Chazak is then you have to repeat it. No, it's just to give. I guess the 3 times is mechazik something. Yes. This is in Hilchos Shabbos. This is in Hilchos Shabbos. Shin Mem Aleph. Shin Mem Aleph. What?
That's why we say chazak, finis chazek, also 3 times.
Yeah, to mechazik something. But I thought it's things that I guess you should know that I didn't know, so I just shared it with you. I figured.
When kids Pasha sheet this weekend.
Right.
The Rav said, okay. Sure, I listen.
Okay, geschmack. Okay, now the Nishol Nedarim Shein L'Tzarech HaShabbos, and you Nedarim Shein L'Tzarech HaShabbos, you can be shol from a chacham, right? You shol from chacham the Nedarim that have what that L'Tzarech Shabbos you could take off. Iboy Lahu Kishaloi Hoyelem Penai, Aydin Kishaloi Penai. Now, what if you could have taken it off before Shabbos? Is this halacha that you could be matna a neder on Shabbos when it's the Tzarech Shabbos is when you had no time to take it off, or you didn't have time to take it off?
Right?
So in other words, if you go ahead and you could have taken it off, maybe we won't let you take it off. Or no, even if you could have taken it off, still you could take it off on Shabbos. Tashma from a Maisa, there's that kiku lahu rabbanon. That's the kiku always means over here. They were matter and neder. It's the kiku rabbanon lebrei the Rav Zutra berei the Rav Zeira. The rabbanon they took off the son of Rav Zutra, the son of Rav Zeira. They took off his neder. Even ones that on Friday you could have taken off, nonetheless we get a psak. So interesting, you're getting psak not from a Tanoic statement, you're getting from an action of Amoroyim that they went ahead and they took it off. So Rav Yosef Lameimar, Nishol Nedarim b'Shabbos, okay, that you can be matan Nedarim b'Shabbos, b'yochin mumcha in b'shalosh heyadis loi, which is in the michse kedina. Now we know that you're not allowed to have a din on Shabbos. You're not allowed to have a din on Shabbos. The best din to meet on Shabbos. Good. So we're going to go ahead and go through Hataras Nedarim. We want to avoid at all costs that it shouldn't seem like you're exhibiting a court case. So therefore, if you have one person, it's less of what, even, you could have a neder can be taken off by a Yachid Mumcha, or it can be taken off by Shleish Yotis. We'll see that in tomorrow's daf, right? But at all costs, you want to avoid looking like a court case. So he's saying you should take it off with a Yachid Mumcha. Rabbi Yosef saying you should take it off with a Yachid Mumcha rather than Shleish Yotis, and because it looks like what? Like a Michzeh Kedina. So Amalei Abaya tells Rabbi Yosef, even the Svirulon Afilu Mu'omid, since you could do Hataras Nedarim even while standing, Afilu B'Kroivim, even if you could use what? Relatives, Afilu B'Layla, even by night. So now, usually Dayanim, guys, sit. Usually Dayanim, apostle if they're Kroivim. Usually every court case has to be during the day. So says Abaya, we have enough other factors that go ahead and establish that it's not a court case, that you could use 3. In other words, no person is going to go ahead and misconstrue this as a court case because there are so many other things that are not acceptable. The Dayanim can stand, the Dayanim can be Kravim, and the Dayanim could be Melayla. Michse Kedina. Then it doesn't appear like what? It doesn't appear like a din. Amar Rav Abba, Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rav, Halacha is Mefirim Nedarim B'Laila. You could be made for Nedarim by night, right? Even this is a husband, right? Says the Gemara of a Mastis, and he. What is Rav telling me? This is the Mishnah. Nidre B'Leil Shabbos. The Mishnah says what? Nodre B'Leil Shabbos. Guys, what did our Mishnah say? Nodre B'Leil Shabbos. Let's remind you. Our Mishnah said lahakol lahachmir. What was the hakol? If she makes a neder Friday night, you got the whole Shabbos to go ahead and take it off. So what's Rav telling me, Mefer, that a husband can take it off? It's a Mefurish Mishnah. Why do I need Rav, the Amorah, to tell me that you can be made for neder on Shabbos? Right? Our Mishnah says the case of lahachmir, the lahakol, the long period of time. If she makes the neder Friday night, you have the whole Shabbos to take it off. So obviously, the husband can take it off. What's Rav telling me? So Ella, you're right. Don't say hafaras nedarim. Ella ema halacha nishalim balayla. What does nishalim balayla mean? You can be mata the neder by night. That's the chiddush. Not that you can be mefer, but the chacham can be mata the neder. So Amli Rav Abel Rav Huna. So this is, guys, this is a very funny girsa. Okay, I'm gonna go with the Ran as the second girsa. This is the Ran's second girsa. Only Rav Abel Rav Huna. It's missing words. Says Rabbi to Rav Huna. Amar Rav Hachi. Did you hear Rav say this, that you could be mater and neder by night? So Amalei Rav Huna told Rav Abba, I said this over to Rav, that you could be mater and neder by night, and Ishtik, and Rav was silent. So Amalei, so Ishtik ka'armit. So the Gemara wants to know, Amalei, Ishtik ka'armit, that Rav was quiet, and he therefore, because he disagreed, I should say ka'armit, or he was quiet like a shakya. He said, give me a drink, like Ashikoyach was saying such a good thing. Okay, again, it remains strange. Okay, but the bottom line is, you could be mater and neder by night and be made for neder by night. Ravika bar Albin is stakikle, on the base is stakikle Rav le Rabba. Is dakik is lashon again, he took off a neder. Rav is mater for Rabba. Bikitunu de Rav in the cheder that was in the base medrash, a small room in the side of the base medrash of Rav. Oimeid, he was standing. Yechidi, it was alone. Ubalayla, and it was night. Okay, those three things. So Amar Rava, guys, again, Rab Amar Rava, Amar Rav Nachman, says Rava in the name of Rav Nachman. Halacha, the halacha is Nishalin Nedarim. Oimeid, you can take a neder off. Oimeid while standing. So not similar to a court case. Yechidi alone, not with three, even a Yachid Mumcha, Ubalayla, and at night. Ubishabis, and you can go ahead, or change the gear, so Ubikroivim, Ubishabis, Bafilu and Panai Mibayoim, and even if you had time during the day, so you see tremendous chiddush that at first the time is not similar to a court case whatsoever. But Tanya says, you're telling me that you can go ahead and stand, Oimeid, while standing, Mashma. Guys, what does standing mean? Charata. We saw yesterday. In other words, to look into a court case, you'd have to look for a Pesach. That would require more of an eon, and that would require you to sit down and figure it out. If it's just charata, so you could be standing, because charata means you could be shooting, according to the Ran yesterday, shooting arrows, standing up and down, right? So when it says oimeid, it's mashma. It is a charata dikadin, that you don't need a Pesach to go ahead, and you just need charata. You don't need a Pesach. So when it says oimeid, the Gemara assumes that it means that you're able to go ahead, and Rav Nachman, who said that you could take it off oimeid, that has to do with charata. But Tanya, Yori Reb Gamliel min hachamar. Reb Gamliel came down off the chamar, finished atef, and he went ahead and wrapped himself. The Yoshem, he sat down. The hitolei nidroi, and he matted his neder. So what do you see? You have to be sitting. And for the Gemara, Reb Gamliel savar changed the girsa. Ein poischim b'charata. Right? Rabbi Gamliel's of the opinion, fellas, that ain't poislim b'charata, meaning you will not be able to go ahead and be charata. So if it's not charata, what's the only way to take it off? With a Pesach. A Pesach ready, you have to go ahead and sit down and look into the matter. Therefore, he sat. Hachi Yosef. Therefore, he sat. Rav Nachman, who said you could stand, savar, take out the ein, savar poislim b'charata. You could be paisech v'charata b'meila if you're paisech v'charata v'afilu me'umud, even me'umud, because it does not require much concentration. Amle Rav Nachman, chazi mar haimer abonon the asi mar Rava. did you see this chachamim that came out from Eretz Yisrael? The Amr, and they said, "Istakikoli Rabbanon lebrei the Rav Huna bar Ravin." The Rabbanon they matted the neder of Rav Huna, the son of Avin, the Sharle Nidre. For Amrle, they said to him, "Zil uboy rachme al nafshecha." Go ahead and daven for yourself. The chatat, because you did an avera. The Tani Rav Dimi, Achva the Rav Safra, Mei Asher, Kol Anoider Afa Pishu Mekaima, Nikra Chayta. Anyone who goes ahead and even his Mekaima, even he keeps the neder, he's called the Chayta. Rav Zvid, my Kara, what's the pasuk that is called the Chayta? It says, "V'chisechtal lindor lo yeh b'chachet." Right, v'chisechtal, stop. If you stop making the darim, lo yeh b'chet. Haloi chadalta. If you don't stop, what's the inference? Ikachet. There is the chet. So therefore, you got your hatara, but you got a musa shmuz along the way. You got your hatara, but you got a zug also. Tanya, ha'omer le'ishtay. Now this is the first part, guys, is going to be the hafara, and the second part is going to be hakama. So usually to go ahead and be made for a neder, you'd say, the lashon of mufar lachi, hefer lachi, say a clear-cut lashon. What happens if you don't use the clear-cut lashon? But the implication is that what? It's a good hafara. Is it good or not? Hakama, right? So this is this two gears how to learn here. We'll go with the second gear. So the first gear, it's always the whole thing is speaking about hakama. The second gear, it's the first part is hafara. The second part is hakama. Ha'omer li'ishtay kol nedarim shetiduri. This is very strange. Any neder that you will make, efshi shetiduri, is not my will that you make it. It's not I don't want it. Now that's not so clear. Or he says, "Ein ze neder," it's not a neder. Lo yomer klum. Then you're not saying anything. You need to go ahead, right? You need a mafurish, something that's clear cut. You need something very, very clear. However, let's say you say yafasis, you did good. You said good. Then kamoischa, there's no one like you. If you didn't make this neder, I would have made it for you. Then dvar of kayamin. Then the words would have been mekoyim. The question is, what's the difference over here between, right? What's the difference? Why by hakama does a clear-cut lashon work, and why by hafara does it not work? So if you take a look, fellas, in the Ran, in the middle, the third line down, right in the middle of the Ran, it says near Bena where it gets wide. Here's the question: why by the clear-cut lashon, you need hafara, but by hakama you don't need? But near Bena says the Ran, the time of the milsa. The key even the Tanya will come on. Since we're going to learn tomorrow or 2 days, Kayim beliboy, Kayim. If a person's Mekayim the neder in his lave, it's Mekoyim. Legari, Hanig Lishni Mekayim, belibi. These Lishainis are not worse than being silent. In other words, since I can be Mekayim the neder in silence, my using an inferior Lashon is Nam Akib. Avol behafara. Even the kaimelon helfer believe by aina muffer. If the guy is muffer in his heart, it's not muffer. Afkeshu mighty bisvasav tzarach sheila shani bara. So too, when he's mighty bisvasav, it has to be a clear cut lashon. Says the Ran. That's the difference. So again, the statement we just said, a guy says to his wife, it's not clear cut, it's not hafara, because since hafara believe doesn't work, immediately you need a clear cut lashon. Hakama, if he says not a clear-cut lashon by hakama, it does work because hakama b'leiv is a good hakama. Layama adam leishtay b'Shabbos, first wide line, mufalachi, but telachi. Now these are the lashons that a person would use stam to be mefer. Good. Now again, being mefer in neder on Shabbos is not the best thing in the world. If you do, it's done. But we want to make a shinoi as much as possible from chayil. So says the Gemara. A person, if he on Shabbos, when he's being made for the neder, should not say the lashon that he uses b'chayil. He should not say mufalachi or batalachi. It's mufalachi where it's nullified for you. Kederach shamallah b'chayil. Elo, what should he say? Let's say the neder was not to eat meat or neder not to drink wine. Elo oimala kliva achli, take it and eat. Kliva shasi, take it and drink. So obviously, what's he saying? When the husband gave her a right to eat it and drink it, obviously, what is he saying? He's saying that the neder should be batal. Rabbi Yochanan, however, there's an adjoinder over here. Says Rabbi Yochanan, it's tzarich sheyibata b'liboy. In addition, fellas, in addition to saying tli v'achli, tli v'shasi, he has to go and be mavatal in his heart. Good. Tanya b'shami. I remember Shabbos mavatal b'liboy. B'chol, it doesn't help bittul b'leiv. Mitzli b'svasav, you have to go ahead and use a clear lashon. Whether it's chayil, whether it's Shabbos, mavatal b'liboy, in conjunction with this inferior what? Inferior lashon, guys, with kliva achli, kliva shasi, whether it's even b'chayil. And tzarich leitzi b'svasav, you do not have to go ahead and say a clear cut lashon, but kliva achli, since it's combined with a bittul, it would help. Since it's combined with a bittul, it would help. Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Yochanan, chacham shama b'lashon baal, u'baal shama b'lashon chacham layama klum. If a husband, a chacham uses the lashon of the baal, and the baal uses the lashon of chacham, layama klum. Pirish. The baal is making the neder batal mikan lahaba. The chacham is being oikel l'mafreya. If you can't use a lashon for the other, because they're doing engineering, they're being poiled two totally different ways. Since they're being poiled in two totally different ways, it doesn't help. Look at the Ran, guys. 3 lines in the bottom. Rabbi Yochanan, chacham she'ama b'lashon baal, hainu, he says, mufaleich, u'baal she'ama b'lashon chacham she'ama mutalech, right? Mutalach, that's what we say. Lashon baal mefurishu b'kasiv. The lashon of the baal is mefurish in the Torah. The hainu lashon afara. The lashon chachamim, the having mutalech, mashmalei midchsiv layachal devaroi, kloimar layaso devarav chulin, v'dashinan al v'cherin meichlin lay, shoysen lachulin, u'b'chulin muta shayach l'meima b'hu. Guys, any neder you make, layachel devaroi. What does layachel mean? Do not profane it. Profaning is the lashon of choil, chalamoid, chulin versus kotshim. Good. So it's the lima we had is layachel devaroi. He shouldn't be mechel his words. Aval acherim mechel. Others would. So that's how you infer that the lashon of haTorah is mechala, mutala or mechala. That's again, you have to say it, but it's mechel. That's the Ran is saying what the Torah says hafara mefurish. It doesn't say anything about mutalach. That we're inferring from the lashon of machalach, right? It's machalach. It's okay. So therefore, if you use one lashon, you use another lashon, there he can't. Now the reason is says it's a rush, guys. Look at the rush. Chacham shaba b'lashon baal. Can you find it? If you have the old Gemaras, it's 3 lines from the bottom. If you have the new Gemaras, it's probably on the side. Okay. Why can't one use one for the other? So says the rush. B'lashon hafara layom klum. The hafara mashma mikan lahaba. Hafar is mashma mikan lahaba, ubeloi tam kimo vesprisi hafar. V'chein bal. No, it's without a reasoning. V'chein bal shama b'lashon haTorah layom klum. Kedei litin chilik ben hafaras bal with haTorah's chacham. The reason is why, because you want to make a chilik between the haTorah of the chacham and the hafaras of the bal. So therefore, he can't use it. So the bal can't use it. Why? Because the bal can't use the chacham because it doesn't. The chacham can't use the baal because the chacham is being mata in the past and this is in the future, and the baal can't be using the chacham. It's yesh b'cham saimana, right? If the baal should be able to use the chacham, it's not worse. But we want to make a chilik between hafara and haTorah.
How can you even say that you can't